Alright, so today we're going to cover should you bulk or not for MMA. So, firstly, here's my story with bulking, okay? So, when I was younger, I've always struggled with eating food. So, like, I'd never eat so much food, you know what I mean? I've always wanted to eat healthy and stuff, right? But the problem with that is that healthy food is so low in calories, okay? So, whenever I'd eat 100% clean, but I'd almost eat no calories compared to the amount I was training. So, if this was like the amount I was training, I was probably eating about this much, or probably even less. Like if we're being real, right? Because I was just eating stuff like vegetables, plants meats, and like eggs and stuff like that. So this was my first problem. Okay, so I struggled with eating food, and secondly, I did not even know my goals. Okay, so do I want to become a MMA fighter? Do I want to be aesthetic? Do I want to be? Do I want to train for self-defense? Like I didn't really know. I wanted to do everything at once, right? So in this video, I'm just gonna cover. Okay, how are we gonna bulk? How should we bulk? Should do we even have to? Like I'm just gonna go over the full thing here. Firstly, your goals. What are your goals? Combat sports, self-defense, aesthetics. So here's the thing, right? Combat sports. Firstly, I'm gonna cover. You can bulk up into a certain weight class. So let's say you've just started out MMA, right? And you're quite a skinny guy, okay? Then I would say, yeah, you should bulk so that you are in your right weight class, right? Because even if you look at some of the fighters in the UFC, right, obviously they're still quite muscular, and you starting out, you probably are not like that muscular, right? So I would say yes, you should bulk, but do it in a lean way, right? So you're lean bulking, okay? So bulk up to an aesthetic level, so you shouldn't be looking like fucking Ronnie Coleman or anything, right? Right? So because you're training for combat sports, you want to still be lean and everything. You want to have muscle, but you don't want to have like a crazy amount of muscle. Okay. Secondly, is self-defense. So for self-defense, you know what I used to think when I was younger, right? I just thought, okay, I'm gonna get as big as possible. Okay. So if I get as big as possible, oh yeah, I'll be in the highest weight class. So that must mean, okay, cool, I'll have the biggest advantage over my opponent. But here's the thing, right? Even if I was 90 kilos or something, because I'm not like that big or like tall right now. I probably weigh about 62 or 63. Okay, right. The problem is if I did this weight cut, because I'm not like really tall either, right? So if I did this thing, right, I'd be extremely bulky. I'd be like a Mike Tyson, which is okay if that's your goal. Okay, if you genuinely want to look like that, then okay, cool. But the thing is, you'll probably perform better at a lower weight class, and like in just even for self-defense. Okay, so even it would actually be better for self-defense if I only bulked up from like 60 kilos to about 70 to 75 kilos, because I can still have endurance, I'll still have mobility, I'll still have power and speed and all of that in my current weight class. Okay, and same with aesthetics as well. So aesthetics, self-defense, and combat sports all have a similar outcome. Okay, so I would say your goals doesn't really matter that much. So here's my honest advice: bulk to a lean aesthetic level. So I'm assuming you right now you probably look like this right now, like that's you here, because you're probably like a little skinny twig. Okay, if I'm being honest, or maybe you're quite a fat guy. Okay, but for now I'd say bulk to a lean aesthetic level, because you probably don't have any muscle. Like this is your muscle there, like that's your muscle there, right? Like if you want to be like a really skinny fighter or something like that, okay, cool, you could do that. But I'd say even just for like the sake of aesthetics and just even fight performance and everything, right? I'd say bulk to an lean aesthetic level. You don't want to be this like skinny boxer who can't even like, he doesn't look threatening. So, but he has to like prove himself in street fight stuff. You don't even want to get into fights, right? You obviously want to have a bit of muscle and all of that, right? So if any of those are your goals, so like aesthetics, getting into combat sports, or like you want to be a professional fighter or something, or even if you just want to do it for self-defense and like trying to like if you're trying to just defend yourself in school or something, if someone's trying to bully you and stuff, right? If any of those are your goal, I'd say still bulk up to an aesthetic level. So what does that look like? So look at your height, for example, okay, and go on like a BMI chart and go and calculate what is the um, most ideal weight range for your height, and try and get to that level. So for me, my ideal weight would be about 70 kilos for my height and everything. Okay. For you, I don't know. It might be 90. It could be 66. It could be fucking 80. It doesn't matter, right? Try and go right now. An actionable step you have just after finishing this video. Go search up your BMI for your height. Go measure your height and everything. Go and find your ideal weight range. Okay. Now, it's how to bulk. So, in this slide. I'm just gonna go over like how you can actually bulk. Okay. So firstly, I don't even count calories. I wouldn't even stick to counting calories, right? Just eat as much as you can, mostly healthy. So there's a rule, right? 80-20. So 80% of the food you eat is like healthy. So like obviously meat, eggs, vegetables, fruits, all of that stuff, right? You know, grains, rice, and all of that. And 20%, I'd say you can kind of cheat on your diet a little bit. Okay, so remember, I only said 20%. So maybe about 500 calories, or like 500 to like 750 calories of your daily intake could be from just dirty food, right? So that could be something like cookies and stuff. Try and avoid like, you know, stuff like seed oils and stuff. But there's also like unhealthy foods that you could kind of eat, which also it would help you, right? Because they're low in volume but they're really high in calories. So obviously I know there's peanut butter on the healthy side and stuff, but I'm trying to think of like unhealthy food on top of mine. Like I know chocolate has quite a lot of calories and stuff. Just basically try and find high calorie foods, right? Because it's usually quite hard to you know, bulk up when you're eating 100% clean. And now after you're gonna do that, right? So 80% of your calories are healthy, 20 is unhealthy. Go make a diet plan on your phone. Go like write a list of like stuff you're gonna eat, and then after that you're gonna lift for hypertrophy 2 times a week. So because you're also training for MMA, right? So say if you're training for MMA 4 days a week, you can't just bulk without the weightlifting part, right? Because that's just stupid. Because then you're gonna gain fat. Like, do you want to become a fatty, right? So you don't want to become a fatty, basically. So obviously you want it to be muscle, muscular, right? So 2 times a week you're going to lift hypertrophy. You're going to do full body both those days minimum, and that's it. That's bulking. So simple. And remember, you're not trying to be like this, you know, huge bodybuilder with like tremendous biceps and, you know, huge legs and like massive cock, and you know what I mean, like, but you're not trying to be this guy, basically. You're just trying to be at like a lean aesthetic level, so you're not really too bulky. You can perform, you can fight well, you've got good endurance and like all of that, basically, right? When you get to like a bodybuilder level, you're just going to be way too stiff and you're just going to look like a fucking like donut, basically. You're not really going to have much technique, you're not going to have much like skill or anything. You're just going to rely on your strength, and to be fair, it's better to be relatively strong than to be like absolutely strong. So what I'd recommend, bulk to a lean aesthetic level. So maybe that might just look like 10 kilo, like a 10 kilo bulk for you. Okay, it could be a 15 kilo bulk. It doesn't matter, but don't make it like overly bad unless you're like anorexic or something, right? You don't really want to bulk more than like 20 kilos at maximum, right? So say if you're like really skinny, maybe you're 50 kilos. Maybe you could even bulk up to 70, 75. Maybe that's like better range for you. Say if you're like quite a tall guy but you're really skinny. So obviously bulk up to a decent range, okay? And now here's the thing, right? Some people like are like, there's a thing called skinny fat as well, and these people usually they think they should cut, but usually if you're skinny fat you shouldn't even cut. A skinny fat is just having a lack of muscle, right? Think about like a fat guy, right? He has a lot of, say if this guy here, right? He has a lot of fat, but the thing is he actually has quite a bit of muscle as well. So this guy has muscle. The person who's skinny fat, he has fat but he has no muscle. So even if you have this like weird skinny fat type of body, I think still bulk. 'Cause this is what I started as. I wasn't really skinny, I wasn't really fat, but I was like more of this skinny fat. So where you're like, well, you look just kind of weird. You're not really fat. You have like a stomach and everything, but you don't really look fat. And I'm telling you, the best thing you could do is just try and build muscle. Most of the time, you should try and build muscle, unless you're severely obese, which I'm assuming you're probably not. So that's basically what I want to cover in this video, and yeah, thanks for watching.